your computer.
Okay. I said computer. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's what I would have done too. Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're ready, I will let people in.
Perfect.
Hang on, I should probably change my name.
Is there any feedback or anything like that on my sound?
Nope, sound wise, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Perfect.
Yeah, okay. Just want to see if everyone can hear us. As I know we all started on mute, I got a thumbs up. Billy, can you hear me? We'll just give people some time to come in. Obviously, a technical difficulty for people in some of our outlying areas with no internet in parts of Qualicum. You've probably noticed we have done it as a recorded session, and that's so those people who now can't attend, I can send it to them. It won't be published anywhere else other than shared with people who signed up. If your camera is off, I would ask that you put your camera on so DJ has other people to present to. If that is something you're able to do, that's always nice for our presenter. Maybe we'll just give it one more minute because I had about 17 people say they're going to attend.
Sounds good.
So if others, you want to just take a sec, get a drink of water, you have time to do that. So who had their power out for the longest last night? Anyone longer than 9 hours? Oh, is it still out, Cheryl? You figure probably, yeah. Yeah.
When I left for work this morning, it was out.
Yeah. How is Nanaimo, DJ?
I actually live in Parksville.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and we had power the whole night actually.
Oh, you're in one of those good pockets.
Yeah, usually we're like one of the
Your
first
real
ones
estate
to go
value
out.
just went up.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, usually it's really bad here, but somehow we stayed on the whole night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I had some folks that signed up this morning and I thought they would be participating. Oh, 20 hours. Now, see, that's when it's cold and the top of the freezer might be getting a little soft. So, DJ, if you want to start and if others arrive, we'll, just let them into the session and carry on from there. But I don't want to make us longer than our end time for folks. So welcome everyone. Today this is our first workshop of our series, and it's knowledge for success for employers and managers and supervisors. And today DJ Levy is with us with Alpha IT. and based in, well, Vancouver Island, just said he lived in Parksville.
Yeah.
Recognized by the Globe and Mail Report on Business as one of Canada's top growing companies last year. So that's pretty cool. My name's Lori. I am joining you today from the traditional and unceded territories of the Coast Salish people. I am extremely grateful to be able to learn and work with you on the shared territories of the Snuneymuxw and Qualicum First Nations. The Career Centre in Parksville is the provider of Work BC Employment Services at Work BC Parksville. So as the provider of Work BC Employment Services and other programs, we support those looking for employment as well as employers. Our goal is to be building and maintaining healthy, stable, safe, productive, and profitable workplaces and support sustainable employment and business success in our community. And we've been doing it for a very long time, like mid-1970s. So we're pleased to offer these knowledge and success workshops every fall. And this year, as in other years, it is in cooperation with the Parksville and District Chamber of Commerce and the Qualicum Beach Chamber of Commerce. The afternoon, I'm asking that we do turn our cameras on if we can. Oh, I've got someone else joining us. Excuse me. And you're on your mic is on mute. Because there's several topics, and for a lot of us, they're not topics we're familiar with. DJ is going to take questions after each section, so we don't have to remember our techie question till the very end. Or you can also put your questions in the chat, and we'll be able to take them that way if you're not able to take yourself off on mute. So over to you, DJ. So president of Alpha IT for the past 8 years. Dedicated to delivering exceptional customer service and enhancing client businesses. Under DJ's leadership, Alpha IT has been a trusted partner for organizations seeking innovative solutions that drives efficiency and growth. A steadfast commitment to keeping clients' data safe, Alpha IT ensures that every strategy not only meets but exceeds industry standards. DJ's passion for excellence continues to steer Alpha IT towards empowering business in a secure and ever-evolving technological landscape. So that sounds like a lot to live up to, DJ. So
Okay.
And walk us through it.
Thank you so much. And I have changed up how I was going to go through this. So if any questions pop up throughout it, just feel free to jump in. And Lori, I don't have the chat up, so if you could just let me know whenever something's out there, that would be
Sure.
that'd be great. Okay. So last year, a business based out of Nanaimo faced a modern day heist, not with guns or getaway cars, but through keystrokes and deception. One of our clients, acting on what they believed were routine instructions, wired $50,000 to a bank account. But this account belonged to a criminal who had painstakingly infiltrated the business's communications. It started subtly. An email with a domain almost indistinguishable from the real one. Embedded within was a copy of a legitimate email, a legitimate invoice, but with one crucial change: new banking details. The criminal had done their homework. They understood the business's account payable process, even knew exactly what the client owed. This wasn't just luck. This was a sophisticated case of social engineering. When the business owner found out, panic set in. How many other clients had received fake emails? Was more money at risk? Will insurance cover this? Do I even have cybersecurity insurance? The criminal had crafted their attack with unnerving precision, leaving behind a mix of fear, confusion, and a desperate need to act. The immediate response was swift but painful. Every password was changed. Anti-malware scans ran day and night, and the depths of their Microsoft 365 environment were scrutinized for signs of compromise. But that was just the beginning. The owner faced the unenviable task of calling every client, sharing the difficult news that their information had been stolen. Trust was at risk, and relationships hung in the balance. Then came the logistics of legal battles, police reports, insurance claims, and consultations with cybersecurity specialists like Alpha. This wasn't just about recovering the funds. It was about salvaging reputation, rebuilding trust, and preventing future attacks. The experience left scars and hard lessons that no business would ever wish for. Hello, everyone. My name is DJ Levy. As Laurie mentioned, I'm the owner and president of Alpha IT. We are a local managed IT provider, which essentially means we are your IT department. So we handle issues that pop up throughout the day. We handle small to large projects for you. We build custom apps, build websites, procure hardware, and we also, of course, provide comprehensive cybersecurity solutions. So what I'm going to be talking to you about today is based on real experiences of businesses right here on Vancouver Island. And by being here today, you've shown that you have some interest in cybersecurity, and that's awesome. You're already ahead of the pack. But let me tell you that each of us is more vulnerable than we think we are. I'm going to share a few stories about clients and frequent breaches here. Then we'll discuss how you can protect yourselves. These are practical tips that we'll go through today, measures that all companies and all individuals should be following. Sure, there is no limit to how much you can spend on cybersecurity. You can spend millions on it, but we can get 99% of the way there with a limited budget. Now, the disclaimer here is that this budget might be more than you're anticipating. However, this is the cost of doing business digitally if you want to keep your clients safe, your clients and employees' data safe, and your bank accounts secure. So let's dive back into that first story that I was talking to you about. And so this is a real story, a business based out in Nanaimo and across Vancouver Island. Earlier that month, the controller of this business had received an email that looked like any other. It asked her to log into her Microsoft 365 email account to update her information. Without a second thought, she clicked on it. The page looked exactly like a Microsoft 365 login page. She entered her credentials, hit enter, and was forwarded to office.com. Nothing seemed amiss. But in that brief moment, a criminal halfway around the world gained access to her email, her Microsoft 365 account. So email is really the crown jewels for criminals. And why is it so valuable for criminals? Just think about your own inbox. It's a treasure trove of information, password reset links, personal conversations, financial details, and confidential documents. If someone gains access to it, they can reset passwords to different accounts. They can steal sensitive information like finding credit card numbers, personal data, or proprietary business information. And they can also create email rules. So people can set up hidden rules in your inbox to forward notifications and also to hide notifications, keeping you unaware of the activities. And so this criminal was patient when they got in. Over the next month, they watched and learned. They studied the controller's emails, noted the clients, and observed the billing cycles. They waited for the perfect moment to strike. And then they struck. They found a significant invoice due from a major client. Crafting an email that mirrored the company's communication style, they sent that client a new invoice with updated banking details, explaining that their bank account had been compromised and to use the new one instead. A very believable story. The only giveaway was a tiny discrepancy in the email address. And so you see this a lot with hackers. They'll spoof email addresses and domains. So you can see here it's ar@getalpha.ca, which is our AR email. And a way to spoof it would be to add a 1 instead of an L. And so this is their case was even more subtle than this. It's almost impossible to notice unless you're specifically looking for it. So the client, trusting the email, wired $50,000 to the new account. By the time the fraud was discovered, the money was long gone, vanished into the labyrinth of international banking. So when the business owner discovered the breach, a wave of panic swept over the entire company. How many clients had received the fake emails? What is this going to do to our reputation? How am I going to get my money back? How am I even going to make payroll next week? The realization that a criminal had been lurking in the system, watching their every move, was unsettling. Trust was shaken not just with the clients, but with the company, within the company itself. So how can we protect ourselves from such sophisticated attacks? The first thing that we'll talk about today is a password manager. And by the way, I forgot to mention this, but I'm going to be forwarding Laurie some checklists and notes from this. So don't feel like you have to take notes, because I'm going to be sending this all after in summarized form.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So imagine having a different complex password for every account and never having to remember them all. A password manager makes this possible. It's like a digital vault where you store all your passwords securely. It autofills your login details on all of your apps, all of your web browsers, and can even generate strong passwords for you. And it's just deployed across all your devices. So I have my password manager on my phone, my iPad, my laptop, and my desktops. So whenever I'm logging into anything, I don't have to remember the complex password. And it can also generate the passwords for me. So some of the benefits of the password manager is that it eliminates the need to remember multiple passwords. It encourages the use of strong, unique passwords, protects against password reuse, which is a common vulnerability, but I'm sure nobody here uses the same password twice. Enables you to share passwords securely across your organization, but I'm sure that doesn't happen here either. But password managers are a really great way of protecting your passwords. So the second thing that we're going to look at is multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication, MFA, 2FA, all the same thing. So think of MFA as a second door on your lock. Even if someone has the key, they can't get in without the second factor. So this could be a code sent via text message, an authentication app generating a time-sensitive code, or anything relating to biometrics like a fingerprint or facial recognition. Yes, I do understand that MFA is annoying. Everybody finds it frustrating when you have to get a code emailed or anything like that. But studies have shown that MFA can block 99% of account compromise attacks. It's a simple step with a powerful effect. And so the next thing we're going to talk about third is conditional access. So this adds context to security. Conditional access policies allow you to control access based on location, block logins from unfamiliar countries, device compliance, only allow devices that meet your security standards, and user risk level, implementing stricter controls for users who might be compromised. And so for our company, we block logins from anywhere outside of British Columbia. But you can do it based on country or region or city or whatever you like. And so we deal with breaches constantly. We get phone calls all the time on this stuff. And every single one of the breaches on emails have originated outside of Canada, either Iran, Russia, Romania, one out of the US. But if they had conditional access on there, it would have blocked all of those attacks. Employee training. So this is definitely the most important piece out of the whole presentation. We're going to come back to it quite a bit. But your employees are truly your first line of defense. We can have all the best tools in the world. You can be spending millions and millions and millions of dollars on cybersecurity. But if someone clicks on a link and gives their password and MFA token to a criminal, you're done. So regular training empowers your employees to recognize phishing emails and suspicious links, keep up to date on the latest security trends, understand the importance of security protocols, and know what to do if they suspect a breach. So there's different kinds of ways that you can get the cybersecurity training. The ones that the majority of our clients use is interactive online training. And so it's just an online portal. It's also right in Teams. There's a weekly 2-minute video that has a quiz with it. And then there's a dashboard to see who's doing the training and that kind of stuff. But the really cool part about this is we simulate phishing attacks. And so we're constantly testing our clients' employees on how they're doing with their cybersecurity posture. And it really keeps everybody on their toes. So let's jump into another incident that happened in Nanaimo. This was a retail organization that called us in a panic. Their computers displayed a chilling message. Your files have been encrypted. Pay $20,000 in Bitcoin to retrieve them. They were victims of a ransomware attack. So what is ransomware? Ransomware is malicious software that locks you out of your own data by encrypting it. The attacker then demands a ransom payment in exchange for the decryption key. It's like someone sneaking in your house and replacing all your doors with new locks and demanding money to get back in. So there's a few catches here. First of all, this criminal's never going to get caught. Secondly, even if you give them the money or the Bitcoin or whatever they're asking for, chances are they're not going to give you your data back. And thirdly, there's a high likelihood that that data is going to get bought and sold and resold on the dark web. So how did the attackers get in? Through software that hadn't been updated. It's that simple. And so operating systems like Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever you use, it's crucial to keep them updated. Updates often include patches for security vulnerabilities that criminals exploit. Third-party software such as like Adobe Reader, web browsers, your antivirus can all have vulnerabilities. And if they're not updated, they become easy targets. And so why do they matter? Imagine leaving your door unlocked because the old locks don't work properly. Updates are like fixing that lock. They close the security gaps that criminals are looking to exploit. So this company had antivirus installed on their computers and their server. But here's the harsh truth. Traditional antivirus solutions aren't enough these days. Traditional antiviruses work by identifying known threats based on signatures. Essentially, it's just a big database of threats that have already happened. So it's reactive and it's not proactive. And so cyber criminals now are using advanced techniques and AI to create new malware strains rapidly that can evade traditional antivirus detection. So endpoint detection and response, or EDR for short, is the next generation of security. EDR doesn't just look for known threats. It monitors for suspicious behavior in real time and can respond immediately to stop attacks. It uses artificial intelligence to actually hunt for threats on your computer and your server. So now, fortunately, this company had a solid backup system in place, a 3-2-1 backup strategy. And so what is a 3-2-1 backup? So there's 3 copies of your data, 1 primary and 2 backups, 2 different media types, for example, 1 on a local server and 1 in the cloud, and 1 offsite backup. And so this protects against physical disasters like fires or floods or any other natural disaster. Because they had this in place, we were able to restore their data without paying the ransom, but the downtime and stress they experienced was significant, and their data was later found on the dark web. So imagine the sinking feeling of seeing years of work, client information, financial records, all locked away. The fear of not knowing if you'll get it back, the stress of halted operations, and the potential loss of trust from your employees. Cyber attacks aren't just technical issues, they're deeply personal and can be devastating emotionally and financially. When business owners call me because of a breach, they are distraught and they are absolutely beside themselves. It's a very, very personal experience when they're violated like that. So we've helped numerous businesses recover from attacks and more importantly, prevent them in the first place. Our experience has shown us that proactive measures are always less costly, both financially and emotionally, than reactive ones. As my dad likes to remind me constantly, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So consider not just the monetary loss, but also the potential damage to your reputation, loss of clients, and the personal stress involved. Think about your business, your employees, and your clients. Protecting them is truly worth the investment. Now, that first story that I had talked about with that business in Nanaimo, we had told the business owner before that this was a huge vulnerability for them and that they had to get multi-factor authentication. And we hear this all the time, he didn't think it was going to happen to him. So let's just quickly recap the few things that we've gone over before we go on. So number 1, use strong, unique passwords. Weak passwords are like leaving the key under the doormat. Use a password manager to create and store complex passwords that are hard to crack. Enable multi-factor authentication wherever possible. It's one of the most effective ways to prevent unauthorized access. Keep software updated. Set up automatic updates for your operating system and your applications. Regularly check for updates on critical software. Sometimes these automatic updates will break and you need to go in and make sure that they're actually running. Yes.
So basically, I handle the on-site IT here in my
Yep.
organization. My question is, when we enable the two-factor authentication, okay, or a multi-factor authentication, it do generates a decrypting key, which is either in the form of a text file or basically a bunch of codes. So what do you suggest? Like, because end of the day, it's a text file. May it be in a notepad form, may it be in a Word form. But then how do you suggest to back it up? Like how, in what way it can be backed up?
So you're saying, how do you back up the MFA token?
No. So we do have MFA enabled
Yeah.
on things, may it be on 365 or the other applications that we use.
Yeah.
But when we enable MFA security feature, when it is enabled, it does generate a decrypting file in case if someone forgets or changes the device or something, which is a human error.
Yeah.
But that decrypting file, which is a text, which is bunch of codes, like a set of 5-digit codes 5 times in a 5 group.
Yeah.
So how do you back up that file? Because if we keep it on a server, again, it's a threat. If we keep it on a hard disk and it has been taken by someone, it is a threat. So what do
Yeah.
you suggest in that manner?
So I mean, for that, I would recommend keeping anything sensitive like that in a password manager. It doesn't just have passwords and that kind of stuff. But I mean, I just went through like a huge rigmarole of changing out my cell phone, and I had to do it like 5 times in a month. And whenever I was resetting my MFA, I just had our admin resend the MFA. I don't even think I ever saw the copies of those text files.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Since we're doing a question, DJ, when you were saying about blocking access from like outside the country, so let's say the owner is going to go to Mexico, is there a workaround for that time? You think, oh, I still want to check my email while I'm in Mexico?
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I should have mentioned that. You just set up a rule for a week.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Very easy. Yeah.
Harry. Oh, you're on mute, babe.
Yeah, okay, sorry. DJ, how would that work if somebody is from out the country but has a VPN for Canada? Would that be effective?
So for the conditional access, are you talking about?
Yeah.
So that's a really great question. So we found in our experience that these criminals, they're just kind of running a script, right? So they'll choose like 1,000 domains from a bunch of different countries. And so they won't know, okay, we're targeting alpha in Canada. They'll just say they won't even really know who they're targeting, kind of thing. So if it's a very targeted account, maybe they'll use a VPN in Canada. But one of our clients had the most sophisticated attack like I've ever seen. And they were the ones who were using an IP address out of the US. So they weren't even using one out of Canada. And so we haven't seen that pop up yet, but it is definitely a possibility. But again, none of these are the golden bullet kind of thing.
Yeah, so nothing's foolproof, but it does eliminate, and because perhaps Canada is not as popular, perhaps we're at less risk.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to know if it did bypass that or not.
Yeah. We've never seen one come out of Canada yet.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Good question. Okay, so the fourth thing that we talked about was investing in advanced security solutions. So consider upgrading from traditional antivirus to an EDR solution that can detect and respond to threats in real time. If that's not in the cards for you, at least make sure that you've got a solid business grade antivirus. Implement conditional access policies. So we just talked about that again. Train your team. Regularly educate your employees about the latest threats and how to avoid them. Make cybersecurity a real part of your culture. Back up your data. Follow the 3-2-1 backup rule, and regularly test your backups. And so, like when I ask people if they have a backup and they say they're not sure, they probably don't have one. And if they say yes, but nobody's tested it for years, it's probably not working. And so you really want to check to see if you have one and if it's running. The other thing that comes up all the time is we'll ask our clients if they have a new client or a prospect, if they have a 3-2-1 backup, and they say, well, we're on Microsoft 365. So everything is saved on SharePoint and OneDrive, and it's in our email. So it's Microsoft backs it up for me. Microsoft doesn't back it up for you. They have a 30-day retention period where they'll hold on to deleted files. But once they're gone, and it cannot be restored again. And so if you're really relying on Microsoft 365 or Google or whatever else, you got to make sure that you have a backup strategy for those files in your emails. So number 8, have an incident response plan. Prepare for the worst case scenario. Know who to call and what steps to take when a breach occurs. And the one thing that I didn't mention is that something as simple as a forgotten printer can be a security risk. And so unsecured devices connected to your network can provide an entry point for attackers. And so network security assessments are a good idea. So regularly evaluate your network for vulnerabilities and secure all devices. Ensure that every device connected to your network, from printers to smartphones, are secure.
One quick question. Sorry, it was about antivirus software. Are you going to take questions later, or do you want us to continue to ask at the time?
Feel free to jump in. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so I found that a lot of the times when I've tried antivirus software, they really slow down the computer.
Yeah.
And so we've ended up just using Microsoft Defender, which I don't know is good enough. But what's your opinion on that? Is there one that is quicker than others?
Sure. So yeah, the Microsoft Defender, as far as antiviruses go, are pretty good. Is pretty good. The issue now, and we're finding this as well, is there. And this isn't just for antiviruses and EDRs and that kind of stuff. Our computers are just being taxed more now with this new software. It's demanding more resources. And so we're just having to upgrade our computers.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. EDRs, like I would definitely recommend an EDR over an antivirus. And
can you give us an example?
Yeah, sure. So Sentinel-1 is an example.
Okay.
There's one that we use. It's called Kaseya 365. There's a lot of really great options out there. Yeah, they're all over the place.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on antivirus or EDR? Jacob, good to see you.
Hey, how you doing, DJ?
Good.
Long time. Thanks for the website, by the way. Fantastic. Still loving it.
Good to hear.
Yeah, I'm at the Nanaimo bar. My partner owns that, so never mind the background. Quick question. I'm a Mac user all the way across the board. So what does that mean for me with regards to antivirus software and whatever it is, the acronym that you were using? It's not EPDM, is it? It's EDM or?
EDR.
EDR, there you go. That's the one. Okay. Hi, Lori.
Hi.
So
okay.
I'm not in the bar.
Well, there's time left in the day still.
So a short answer, Jacob, is we're not exactly Mac. I'm not a Mac expert. So I don't even really feel comfortable giving you too much of an answer. Like, we still deploy EDRs for our clients. But I would say Mac security is better for sure. It's better than a Windows Microsoft computer, but we still deploy something like a Sentinel-1 on all of our Macs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. That's
okay.
Kind of what I expected, but thank you very much.
Okay. All right, so let's dig in a little bit deeper to some other threats that we see. So phishing attacks. This came up in the first story that I mentioned, and so these are fraudulent attempts to obtain sensitive information by disguising oneself as a trustworthy entity in email. And so this was the criminal sending the email to the controller saying that it was an email coming from Microsoft, and then asking to verify the information and then stealing the logins. It could also be, somebody pretending to be a bank and asking you to update your information, that kind of stuff. And so how do you protect yourself from this? The biggest thing is just be skeptical. If something feels off, it probably is. And it's like, I do this all the time. I'll pick up the phone and I'll call whoever sent me the email if I didn't know it was coming, just to make sure before I open up that link. I always check the sender's email, so I look for misspellings or unfamiliar domains. We went over that earlier. Don't click on links immediately. So if an email comes in and there's a button that says click here to update information, if you hover over that, it shows you where you're going to be going, where the domain is. And if it's a fraudulent email, it's going to look a lot different than td.com or paypal.com or anything like that. Next thing, again, educate employees. So regular training definitely reduces risks. The second thing that we'll look at here is social engineering. So again, we saw this in the first example that we put up. It involves manipulating people into giving up confidential information or money or anything like that. So this is when the criminal was already in the system and it reached out to their client with the updated information, pretending to be the controller. We see this a lot. And so this could also be somebody calling you saying that they're your IT company or your IT guy and saying that they need your logins or something like that. It happened to MGM Grand, I think earlier this year or last year, where somebody called their IT department and said they needed their password reset. And then MGM Grand was down for a month and it was like $200 million or something like that. So social engineering is getting a lot more sophisticated now for businesses and for individuals alike. The third thing is malware and viruses. So malicious software designed to damage or disable computers. We talked about this in the second story there. So it's spread through email attachments, downloads, visiting compromised websites, software that's not updated, all that kind of stuff. And so prevention security software using a reputable antivirus and EDR solution, definitely recommended. Regular scans, so schedule frequent scans of your systems, and safe browsing practices. So again, training. Be cautious when downloading files or visiting new websites. Policies and procedures can also significantly reduce risk. And I do have a couple of these that I'll send to Lori after the call, just draft policies. So acceptable use policy, define what is permissible when using company equipment and networks. A password policy, so complexity requirements, minimum length, use of numbers, symbols, uppercase, lowercase, all that kind of fun stuff. And then change frequency, which we don't necessarily recommend, but some companies like to use it, and that's regular intervals for updating passwords. And then the other one would be the incident response plan. And so this outlines what to do if a security incident occurs. Whenever we get a call about a breach or anything like that, people are panicking and they have no idea what to do. And so it's good to have a plan, if or when this occurs. And so, how to identify an incident, who to notify, steps to contain and eliminate the threat, restoring your systems and data, and then also like debriefing. So what are the lessons learned? Review the incident to improve future responses. We always send out an incident report after each breach, and it's like one of the most viewed documents that we send out to clients. It's really good to review that kind of stuff. So there's a few more things I'll show you for leveraging technology. The first one is firewalls. And so firewalls act as a barrier between your trusted network and outside untrusted networks. And so if you don't have a firewall at your office, you are sitting ducks. Also, if you have, and it just means that really anybody can get into your network. So if you have like a 10-year-old firewall, that's real bad as well, because it's not receiving security updates and that kind of thing. And again, it's you're very vulnerable. So a question that you could ask yourself is, do I have a firewall? How old is my firewall? So there's two types of firewalls: physical devices, which I was just talking about, but there's also software firewalls. So these are installed on individual computers to monitor traffic, especially important for distributed remote workforce. So people who are maybe working from home, the Nanaimo bar, all that kind of stuff, making sure that they have something that's installed on their computer that's protecting them from what they're like outside traffic. Which brings me to the virtual private networks, VPNs. So this encrypts your internet connection. And so encryption can be a good thing if you're the one who's using it. And so the use cases for the VPN is remote workers. Again, it gives people the opportunity to securely connect to the internal network using what they call a tunnel. And then also if people are working from public Wi-Fi, airports, all that kind of stuff, it encrypts the data, because it's using public Wi-Fi is kind of like rolling the dice a lot of the time. And I could go into a huge long thing about that as well. You have to really be careful with what public Wi-Fi you are using. If you're at any location where you do, is that a hand or is you're
Yeah. What about? Sorry to interrupt. Thank you, though. What about cellular data?
cellular
Wi-Fi,
data? Yeah, good. Yeah, if you could do cellular data or your own hotspot, that's definitely safer.
Okay.
Or you go to the business owner or manager or whatever, and just confirm that that's actually the Wi-Fi, the one that you're going on. That's a safe Wi-Fi.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Because I can set up a personal hotspot on my phone that says YVR Wi-Fi or anything like that, and then
Right. Of course. Yeah. Of course, that
So
makes
easy to
sense.
do.
Yeah. No, I actually never thought of that. I should get into that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
yeah. Go
No
ahead.
problem.
Go
Carrie?
ahead, Carrie.
So DJ, if you logged in through a Wi-Fi on your phone,
Yeah.
and then you create a hotspot to work off your computer, is that safe, or is it just simply in the next same network?
I don't think that you can connect to Wi-Fi and also do a personal hotspot.
You can't. Okay.
It's got to be one or the other.
Trying to think of when I'm out the country, so when I haven't got cell phone data. So yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Okay.
I'd have to do roaming.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And so the other thing, well, we'll just talk about encryption a little bit more. So again, it converts your data into code to prevent unauthorized access. One thing that a lot of people don't know, and I don't think that this is on the Mac side of things, but definitely on the Windows side of things, you can have a beautiful complex password on your laptop, but if somebody gets access to your computer physically, steals your laptop, if you forget it somewhere, all somebody has to do is unplug your hard drive and plug it into another computer. And so huge security risk. And so Microsoft recently came out with something called BitLocker over the last few years. And so all of their new computers come with BitLocker, but it has to be enabled. And so what BitLocker does is it encrypts your data. And so if anybody finds your computer, steals your computer, unplugs your hard drive, they can't just plug it in and steal your data. It encrypts it for you. And so again, just because you have a great password on your computer doesn't mean that your data is safe. All right, the human element, also known as the weakest link. Even with the best technology in the world, humans can inadvertently compromise security. So common mistakes, we'll just go through these again: using public Wi-Fi without protection, leaving devices unattended, sharing passwords, falling for phishing scams, and not updating software. And so some solutions here are regular training to keep security top of mind, clear policies to set expectations for behavior, and encourage reporting. We all make mistakes, and we want to create a culture where employees feel comfortable reporting these mistakes or suspicious behavior activities. Another thing to look for is third-party risks. Vendors and partners can be entry points for attackers. And so we want to do our due diligence by evaluating our vendors' security practices. It's a good thing to ask, do you guys have multi-factor authentication? Where is our data stored? All that kind of stuff. Finding that stuff is, really important. If you want to take a step further, you can include clauses in contracts that require them to adhere to certain security standards. But you always want to limit the access that you give to from your systems to third-party vendors. Only give them what they need, nothing more. And so cybersecurity isn't a one-time project. It is an ongoing process that requires continuous improvement. We like to recommend regular audits. So assessing your security posture periodically, staying informed with the latest threats and trends through training, workshops, things like this, and also investing wisely. I'll say it again, there's no limit to how much you can spend with a company like us on cybersecurity. So you want to make sure that you're allocating your resources to critical areas. And it may seem overwhelming, but we can start small. So implementing the basics first, whether that's strong passwords, MFA, updates, backups, that kind of thing. But you also have to be proactive. 99% of the people who I talk to on this doesn't think it's going to happen to them. But there's something like a 50% chance that it's going to happen over the next 5 years or something crazy like that for each business. Like this stuff happens all the time. And then lastly, seek expertise. You don't have to do this on your own. There's tons of great companies, even just here on Vancouver Island, that deal with cybersecurity and IT across BC, across Canada. I would generally stay within Canada because of the differences between countries for legislation and that kind of thing. But you definitely don't have to navigate this alone. And that's pretty much it. That's all we've got prepared today. Thank you very much for sticking with me through that.
Does anyone have any
take any questions?
questions? Yeah. Harry. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, I always do that. Do you offer regular training to team members?
Yes. Yeah, that's something that we do as well, for sure. So there's the two types of training. There's, on-site or virtual or whatever else. And then there's interactive online training.
Do you have a link? Can you send us that info?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Great question. Anyone else with some other questions? Or are y'all just shell shocked? I'm like thinking how many really bad passwords I have.
And then sorry, again, another one from me. How do you check, how do you check your firewall?
I mean, you should check out the model, it would say underneath it. And then just Google it. When does end of life, or is it still receiving security updates, that kind of thing?
Okay, would it be a software-based thing?
It'd be like a physical device.
In your computer?
Yeah, in your office. So it'd be like near your
office.
modem, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, so like at the router?
It'd be near your router, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll get somebody to check that. Thank you.
No problem.
That's not something most people who work from home are on their personal computer. That's not is that a common thing? I'm thinking about yeah.
No. So ideally you'd have like firewall software running on your computer, and you would know if you had that, for sure.
So that's not part of Microsoft Defender then?
No.
That's not an additional software that has a firewall.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Microsoft does have a product for that, probably, but outside of like Microsoft Defender, the free one, once their tools can start to add up pretty quick for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
DJ, with the employee training, so if, you know, a company has 5 employees on staff, and how long is the training? And then if they hire someone in April, what's the process for them to be able to put the person through that training?
So basically we do like for us, for the 2 different options, we have ad hoc training. So if you want to do an hour or 2 hours, you know, quarterly or, you know, whatever you like, really. We don't have like a course curriculum kind of thing, but we'll go through a lot of what we talked about today in more detail, depending on, you know, how much time you wanted to invest in it. The other thing is that, you know, interactive online training, which, you know, you're talking like $10 per employee if you have 5 employees per month, and then there's new training each week. There's a big, you know, training once a year where you're evaluated on your skills. It also comes with like Microsoft 365 training, AI training. That's definitely like to me, it's more valuable than, you know, coming on site and doing it once every quarter or something like that, because, you know, you're doing it weekly and it just really becomes embedded in your culture. And it's really not, it's like not a huge time commitment. We're talking like $5 a week, or $5, 5 minutes a week of training. And they're really entertaining videos, and they're, you know, there's quizzes and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm understanding you correctly, then it's like you subscribe and then you have 3 logins and you say, okay, this week, this is the time to do it, or is it self-paced?
Self-paced.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you would log in every day, I mean, every week at a particular time and do it, or your team would.
Yeah, whenever they want. And it's embedded like right into Teams. I don't know if you use Teams or not. Okay, so it doesn't have to be in Teams. You can also go to just like an online URL, go through the training there.
Okay.
And then again, the nice thing about that is we do phishing simulations for all your staff. So we catch, you know, a lot of the different people on staff, and then it's like, oh, you know, I fell for it kind of thing. And then like people are a lot more like wary of clicking on links and that kind of stuff if you catch them once.
Yeah, for sure. You've got to make the mistake first before it just sinks in, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Jacob.
Do you guys offer backup storage, like cloud storage?
We do. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm constantly battling with my NAS backup drive using what's it called now? It's an Apple product. Time Machine.
Okay.
Constantly battling with that. Yeah, and I'd like to get it. And right now, like, it's funny, but hopefully there's nobody there that I should be letting this information to. Sensitive. My backup drive is literally 3 feet away from my computer.
Right.
So it's not outside at all. No, of course not. No, yeah. So and I'm tired of dealing with that. Like, I'm my company's IT guy, and I'm done with trying to figure that out. So, do you guys offer? Do you do that for? And there's no way to do Time Machine through cloud. But what other backup solutions could I have that are similar?
So we offer all kinds of cloud storage. We have data centers in Canada, data centers in the US that we use. US is obviously a lot more cost effective. But I think there's three different solutions that we provide for that. So lots of different options.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in terms of security, my office is off grid, and so I use what's called a smart hub. So it's like a cellular internet connection, and it doubles as a hub for, peripherals, Wi-Fi for all my employees, and then my computer as well. And then that has security cameras attached to it. Like, what should I be looking at installing a firewall for that? Like, what's the risk factor for the cameras that I have? That basically just there's like 5 Wi-Fi cameras.
Hmm. That's a good question. Let me get back to you on that one. I definitely see value in having the firewall, especially with the cameras there, and that's,
Yeah.
that's where the office is and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you definitely want to protect, because I mean you can still be going on visiting websites that you really shouldn't, like unprotected websites, unsafe websites, that kind of stuff. So you
Yeah.
definitely want to filter out as much of the bad stuff as possible.
Okay. Interesting. And then I have an employee that works remotely occasionally from home, and then she does bring her Microsoft laptop into the office and connect to my network. So, and these are things I would never even consider before prior to, mostly because I know that running Apple products like my iMac and right now I'm on my iPad. They're fairly secure inherently. They come with a lot of these features that you've been talking about as part of their operating system, right? But that's this whole entire thing just made me realize like that's a major security risk because I haven't even considered it, right? Because I just sort of like I said it and then I forget it. That's kind of my motto, right? Because I need to move on to things, right? So that's interesting. Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we saw that a couple of weeks ago, where somebody brought in their a device that they had at their house and almost ran into a ransomware situation when they came back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then I have another question for you. I've got a client. No, I've got. So I have about 5 iPads all connected to a company account, so they all have data, right, and Wi-Fi. And on those tablets, they run my field service software remotely. So that was my big question for you: is like how secure is cellular? Because they're everywhere with sensitive client information all over the Oceanside area.
Yeah. I mean, I would say iPads are pretty safe. Again, something that I would probably ask my team, but a lot of these different, like it's a cloud application, right? So do you have
Absolutely.
multiple? So is it like MFA rolled out on all the different logins?
Yeah, like is it occasionally asking me to provide, like to check my text messaging and input a code? Yeah, absolutely. Occasionally, yeah.
Usually they're smart enough that they'll only ask if it, like maybe it's a new location or it's a certain amount of time, different Wi-Fi or whatever else.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing now. Yeah, it's almost random really when you can go days without it, and then all of a sudden you need to log in and you need to put in your multi-factor. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm getting is that like, do you have anybody there that specializes in Apple?
I mean, we have lots of clients that have Apple, not predominantly Apple, but a couple of organizations that are, I guess. But we still deal with Apple every day. I'm just not as well versed in it as I should be, even though I use iPads, iPhones, and all that kind of stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
For a reason, right?
They're so convenient. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, why don't we talk outside of this meeting? I am interested in getting a couple of solutions to everybody guys, so I'd appreciate that.
Awesome. Thanks, Jacob.
And thank you. Okay.
Okay, well, thanks everyone. Okay. So DJ will send some links on to me and I'll send that out to you, and the recording as well if you want. I won't send it to you unless you say you want it, okay, because it'll be a I think it's a link to a link or something. I'm not sure how that part's going to work. We just thought we'd record it because a couple of people had said I've got no way to participate today because of the storm. A lot of what you've said is, it sounds like there's a lot of ways we can protect ourselves. I think it's a big mind-opening moment to realize how many ways maybe we aren't protected when we think we are. Okay, Sarah, I'll make sure you get the recording. So next Wednesday is on Employment Standards Branch. So I know a lot of you have signed up to attend that workshop. And if you want to send questions anonymously, you can send them to me and I'll present them to our two presenters without mentioning your name or your company. So I will know who it is, but I obviously, I have to keep a lot of things confidential. So I will protect your ID and your company name when you submit your question for employment standards. And then the following week is wage subsidy. So DJ, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lori,
for
having me.
you know, taking kind of a scary topic and making it sound a little bit more manageable for, you know, small, medium-sized businesses and nonprofits, that there's things we can do so that we don't end up on the news as, you know, being taken for ransom and having our data, you know, not be our data anymore. So I appreciate that. And yeah, don't click on the link.
That's right. Hover over it first for sure.
Yeah, you know what, because I have to say the of a lowercase L and an uppercase 1 in certain fonts gets
Yeah.
me every time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. There's a lot out there where it can be so subtle. Yeah.
Or a
Awesome.
capital I and a small L,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah, easily mixed up. So thank you very much.
Thank
Have
you,
a-
DJ.
Okay. Thank you all.
Have a safe rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Yeah.
Thanks,
bye.
Lori. Thank you all.
Yeah, Peter got it. Thank you for identifying yourself. I figured that was probably you.
Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Okay.
Talk soon.
Bye, Jacob.